with one person at different times, probably for different people. We have a unique face when we hear something, when something touches us. And each of these faces is really quite different in oneself from each of the other faces. So when we look in the mirror, what we see, we think is ourselves, but it isn't the ourselves that others see, because when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we're reacting to something completely different than when I look at Stephen Pettis just now. So what we see in the mirror, which heavily influences what we think we look like, is probably not what we mostly look like. So if looking in the mirror doesn't really tell you what you look like, how do you find out what you really look like? And one way, just to be scientific, is you can look at yourself in a bunch of candid camera pictures where no one knew that you, but we don't have that many candid pictures of ourselves in many, many different situations. So unless we have thousands of candid photos of ourselves when we're actually in the middle of doing something, we really, the face that we think we are, when we look at the mirror, it really isn't the face we mostly are. It's kind of an interesting thing. So how do you find out what you look like? And the answer, when I was thinking about this, is that the circumstance that creates the problem in the first place, which is the possibility of 5,000, 10,000 different faces in one person, actually has an answer, provides an answer to it. And the way it provides an answer is everyone else around you also can generate 5,000 to 10,000 different faces. And thousands of expressions in their face that's in reaction to different things. One of which is you. So when they are in your company, if you look very closely, what you see in their face actually could be what you actually look like. And what started me thinking about this is when I told my mother, there's a surprise party for you, there's a party for you. Her face just broke into a smile and it just shined, because I mentioned your name. And it was the same with Mila and others. And thinking about it, there's when I mention your name historically to many different people, there's a certain common familiarity. It's nearly universal. There's a familiarity and a warmth in people's eyes and faces at Theo and Sidera and in this room when your name comes up. So in your 51 years, if you wonder what you look like, you look at the faces all around you, and that's really the picture of you. And it's a very beautiful picture.
I have a very, very different perspective on this lovely lady that I've been associated with for decades now. And the special spot that develops as you get to know Kerri over a period of time is that she has an effect on all sorts of people and all sorts of situations, which just astounds me. My heritage is Viking and warrior and Danish and the whole thing, and very aggressive and crazy and that sort of stuff. And here is this very diplomatic, very caring, very loving individual who wins everybody over. And the Viking, he causes all sorts of causes all sorts of damage and destruction. And as I watch things happen, and it's people, it's children, it's squirrels, it's birds, it's chipmunks, it's blue jays, it's whatever happens to be around when Kerri decides to shine her light. It's just amazing how lovely everything around reacts. And I just sit back as the warrior thing and sit there and say, this really works. And it's just a joy to be associated. And I put this down to the old saying about God, that he looks out for children, drunks, and idiots, and I fall into all three categories. So he took pity on me and allowed me to bump into Kerri, and she was very, very patient, and it's been a joy for 20 years of special occurrences, special fun, and the friends she makes and the people that she comes to lighten up, I guess, is the best. Now, you know, it's a glow that develops. It's just, it makes life really, really enjoyable, and it's very, very special for me. It's very special that I know all of you, and everybody has such a great time together. It's just, man, we gotta box this and sell this. But it's very, very special, and I'm very, very lucky. As a friend of mine says, you won the wife lottery. And it's very special.
The squirrels only love me for peanuts.
All the chipmunks are choosy, so.
I have much less thoughtful, much more simple thoughts to share, and it's for both people that have birthday today. Kerri, a month ago, and Chaim that has a birthday today. It's most of the day today was spent on cooking, so I didn't get a lot of time to think about more in-depth wishes, which I would love to, so my apology. But what occurred to me last night is that it's interesting that the connection between your character and your name, for both of you. I can think about the more caring person than Kerri. And I can think about the person that is more full of life than Chaim, which is life in difference. And
I think I'm spelling your name wrong.
for a long time. In Hebrew, it sounds the same. So, thank you for being my friend, and that's all I wanted to say.
You first.
Kerri, I have to step on it if you
For those of us who haven't seen The Office yet, we have workstations, and between, excuse me, I have a hiccup. Between each workstation is a little partition, and it clips into place. And when the workstations arrived before the partitions did, and so partitions are going up between all the workstations, and Shlomi and I sit next to each other in these workstations. And Shlomi said, I don't want a partition. And I said, oh good, because I don't either. The only workstations that don't have a partition. Which speaks to how
That is the only group of people that I would warn the universe not to associate with Kerri. It's called construction managers. She goes crazy around construction, guys. We have to keep her away from those types because the Danish Attila the Hun, comes out.
No,
You have to be more specific when you say she goes crazy on construction stuff.
what happened.
They have a construction manager the same as I ran into the problem in our construction. And they are a different breed to the universe, and they drive us crazy. And Kerri's run into one that they don't think like the rest of us.
Stephen knows him well.
Ron, even with this guy, Kerri is still nice to him and thinks about his feelings.
Okay.
I swear.
She comes home and tells me the stories, and I go, it's just that they live in a different universe.
Imagine how it's all over the world the same.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
all over the
it's-
world. I think you're right. I think you're totally right. All over the world. All over the world.
Kerri is in charge of the construction of field, the physical construction of